Hi everyone, and welcome to VR for Work. My name's Rick, and I'm your host here at VR for Work. Today is Sunday, September 27th, 2020, and today we are coming to you from within Immersed, high above the Earth on the VR for Work 1 starship. So thank you for joining us today for this intergalactic presentation. Now, today, we're going to talk to you about an application that does a process that some of you may be familiar with called mind mapping. And mind mapping is something that I've done off and on throughout my career that really kind of helps you solidify and bring structure to ideas and get beyond those writer and thought blocks that we all run into periodically. And so there's a VR application out there called Noda that I've come across that I wanted to share with the VR for Work family. And so we're going to be talking about Noda and mind mapping and what VR contributes to that entire process. And so on the screen, you can see this is the kind of intro or overview video that if you go to the Noda website or you look up their application on Steam or in Oculus, you'll see this. But you can see the individual kind of in a very plain 3D space surrounded by these nodes, and nodes just representing thoughts or ideas or items within a structure of a process that they're bringing some sort of organization to. And so let's talk just a minute about what mind mapping is, right? And it's basically a visual representation of information or ideas. It combines concepts and texts and pictures and references. And it's all around the central subject or central image or thought that then branches or maps out or radiates from the center into a number of different branches. And these branches hold a key image or a word, and it's associated to that line or the details that radiate out from that central thought. And those branches form a connected nodal structure. See what I did there? Noda, nodal, right? So you're using these thought bubbles, right, to represent very simple concepts, but those simple concepts, when they're all joined together, kind of crystallize into this structured, organized set of ideas that can then be actionable. And so Noda kind of helps you do that within VR, and it brings the power of VR forward into this exercise. And I think that's the key difference, right? Because those of you who are familiar with mind mapping might right away go, well, I could do that on a whiteboard or a piece of paper or on my computer screen, or there are apps on my phone or my PC that I can use for that. And absolutely, without a doubt, there are, right? But this is a VR mind mapping application. And as we all know, right, everything is better in VR. And hopefully after this demo, you'll think that doing your mind mapping and structuring and organizing your thoughts and ideas in VR is better using Noda. So right now, you can go out and you can get Noda on Steam VR, in Viveport, or on the Oculus Rift. It is available in a pre-release state, right, a beta state on all those platforms. But you can go out, you can buy it, or if you're on Viveport and you have the membership, it's there as part of the membership. Download it and use it. There is a Oculus Quest version that's in beta and is being planned for and worked on for the future. It's coming. You can import .txt or CSV files so that you can start with a structure that you might already have maybe in an Excel spreadsheet and bring that in. And you can also import JPEG or PNG images to use them along with your mind map. Again, to further expand and solidify and coordinate or explain the ideas that you're generating there. You can also export screenshots and a CSV file of all those nodes if you want to further work with them IRL or in real life outside of Noda and VR. And Noda does have a multi-user support function that's now in beta and that you'll see for the first time here on VR for Work that lets multiple users get in and do planning and brainstorming and organizing together. I mean, oftentimes we might start with a germ of an idea ourselves, expand that while using Noda, and then bring somebody else in with further expertise or a different perspective who may branch that out even further in a different direction. But important to note, and I want to emphasize here, what we're looking at today is a beta release, right? So some of the features and functions are things that are going to be planned for the full release, which is coming before the end of the year. I met with and spoke with Brian, who is Noda's developer, and he shared this release with me from Steam VR. And I'll try to call out and tell you the features you can expect if you were to get Noda now versus if you wait until its full release later. I do want to call out that if you get Noda now, you certainly support Brian in his works and efforts with what he's doing, but you also buy into being grandfathered into that full version when it releases later with the additional functionality that you'll see today. And so with that, let's jump in and take a look at Noda. Okay, when you come into Noda, what you'll first be dropped in is into this very, very nondescript, plain gray box. You're in a very empty gray box. And that is not on accident. That is certainly on purpose. And one of the things that you'll notice with Noda, right, is that it is all about focusing on the nodes. You won't see a lot of flash, you won't see a lot of color, you won't hear a lot of noise, there won't be a lot of activity. This is brainstorming at its utmost, right? You've already leveraged VR to cut yourself off from all the distractions in real life. You've dropped yourself into this space and you're pretty much forcing yourself, right, to sit there, utilize this product and really generate and flesh out your ideas. And you will see that you've got just your controllers floating in the air and two controls being called out. Well, the same control on each controller, and that is pulling a trigger to create a node. And so as we go along here, let me see, get us started back, here we go. You will have, by pressing your B button, you call up Noda's tablet. And let me just pause that here a second. And so this is the main user interface in Noda. And you'll notice along the left-hand side of your tablet are all the controls that are here. Now, the first thing you'll notice is maps, right? And you have to name your I need a nap. You have to name your map, and then you can save it or you can create a new one. I have two here that I've started, and I probably have 40 or 50 nodes in each one of those since I've started them over the last month. And what's important to note is that these maps are being saved to the local desktop. So Noda is presently a desktop app. You'll notice that it's not currently in the Quest library. It's not available in Quest. Brian is working on the Quest release right now, but one of the things he has to tackle is where does he save these copies of your maps so that they're secure and you can recover them. Right now, again, Noda's running on the PC, so I can save and pull back from their my saved maps, as well as import and export the files and the images that I might want to use along with them. Okay, so we get going. Meeting. Now, this is one of the beta features. So meeting, very simple. You put your name and a room key, and whoever else has that room key will join you in the room you're in. This is cross-platform, so whether you're using the Steam VR version or the Oculus version or Windows Mixed Reality, you'll be able to connect with anybody within Noda that has that room key. No multi-factor authentication here, so if you're using 1234 as the room number, anybody else that puts in 1234 might be able to connect into that space. So you want to make sure to, make it significantly unique that you and whoever you're sharing it with will be able to get into the room, but nobody happens in on you accidentally. And we'll actually get to see a demo of the multi-user a little bit later. I can import the files that I had mentioned. I can export files. Again, these all go to the PC file folder that's indicated when you set Noda up. Now, here's another feature that this is not in the current release, but it's locations. In the current release, you're in, again, the gray brain box, if you will, the empty mind box, where you will do your brainstorming and your mind mapping. But Brian has started to expand the 3D locations. We'll take a look at those as we go. And these will be available with the full release. This first one is called Gallery, brighter than the other room. You've got these nondescript, abstract pieces of art. I love that he has the thinker over there on the one side. Nothing distracting, nothing moving around. And then the hangar. And I wish he had actually called this Area 51. That's just me, but yep, just a open kind of hangar. Again, lots of space. And I think you'll find that over and over again within Noda, it's this concept of this wide open, empty space. And the idea of this emptiness, right, is to fill it. These mind maps can get huge, and you want them to get used, because the more you connect and relate and give considerations to your ideas and your plans, the more sense you can make out of them. And then this is another really nice feature that I like in Noda, and in fact, any kind of app that I'm working in within VR where I'm not focusing, it's not a game, I'm not focusing on, running around and shooting things, but I actually have to get work done. And that's this ambient music or sound in the background. And Brian has a selection of binaural music that will be available to the full release users when it releases later, that you'll be able to select from here that, again, just add to that ambiance and kind of cut out that background noise, if you will, that helps you focus on the mind map that you're creating and the thoughts and the ideas that you're trying to bring to life through Noda. You can turn controller hints on and off, binaural music on and off. You can see that content directory there. That might have flown past you a little bit. You can change that folder there or leave it to the default. And then Brian has also recently added this tutorial that is very, very handy once you jump into Noda. All right, so let's get started. So I'm just going to start, and it starts with a single idea, right? So there's my first node in this mind map. I can move it all around in 3D space. I can select it, and then when I can change its color. I can change its shape. I can attach an image to it based on what it is. And Noda comes with a little library of, very simple images, but you can import and add your own. Then I can go in here and I'm going to, okay, what is my central idea? Where am I starting, right? And I'm going to plan a forest, right? That sounds like a big undertaking, but most ideas in life can seem very overwhelming at first. Now, also up here, I paused for a moment, there is a subsection, if you will, to enable you to link like nodes together. So as these plans grow and these nodes grow, you'll find that you may create families or kinds of nodes that you may want to mass edit at the same time. If you give those nodes, right, the same family name, as you edit the color or the shape of one, you will edit the color and the shape of all of them in that particular family. So just calling that out. Now, the thing that I'm doing right now that's included also and will be included again in the full release is the voice dictation. So here at VR for Work, we love voice dictation in VR. And Noda provides that, so you're not hunting and pecking and pulling your trigger and draining your battery, typing out 100 words while you're trying to create your mind map. You just click the little microphone and off you go. And I dictated plant a seed, it added plant a seed. And go and I'm going to change the shape, and I'm going to add an image and connect to plant a forest. I start with planting a seed. I think I could really find a seed, so I think I maybe happen on a leaf. I'm not quite sure. Maybe yes. Okay. And so, I just want to call out that it's very difficult in a video like this and you watching it kind of in 2D space, trying to represent what doing this in 3D space is like. But I really do want to geek out here for a moment and say this experience is so superior to trying to do this in 2D space that it can't be emphasized enough, right? There is this, again, I had mentioned you're in VR already, right? So you've kind of cut out all the distractions. You put yourself in this very open, airy 3D space. You have this very soothing, meditative background music playing. And then it's just you and these ideas. And these ideas kind of take on this physicality, this weight, this shape, this color, and exists now in 3D space that you can manipulate and move around. There's almost this gamification with it. I mean, I know when I get into Noda, I feel myself akin to when I watch my grandkids playing Minecraft, and I'm sitting there going, how can you spend all this time, they're chopping away at these blocks and they find these things and they create these large buildings to jump off of. But I think I get it when I get in here. I like to think that my processes and my thoughts are a little bit higher level, and my efforts kind of hopefully have some end purpose. But there's this gamification, and there is this physical, tactile creation of a memory and this almost physical effort that goes along with doing this work that you just can't replicate in 2D space, right? When I'm standing at a whiteboard or I'm at a computer screen or even at a blank piece of paper, that I think just contributes to the effort well beyond, again, what you can do in a 2D. And again, you're kind of giving these images and these shapes and these colors, and you're moving them around in space. And often I'll find myself now in the evenings putting my headset on, and I'll fire Noda up for just 20 or 30 minutes, and I'll open a map, and sometimes I'll just kind of walk around it or kind of manipulate my way around it, and I'll go under it, I'll go in it, and sometimes I go over it, kind of in that God mode view. And I said I'm at the point where there's 30 or 40, and I might not think there's anything else I can add. And then I'll start seeing, hey, how come all of these certain items that I have here are all circles and they're all red? And then I'll start looking at them, and I'll look at the notes, or I'll make a note, and then I'll start drawing lines between them. And I'll say, you know what? These are all in the same family. Let me make them kind of a node family. And then I'll connect them. And then the result of connecting those ideas, I have another idea. And I can tell you for a fact, just this past week, I was walking around a particular node I have out there in Noda about VR for work. And I noticed that all of the videos that I had done were kind of grouped around 3/4 of the node. And I had this blank section right around education, I believe. And I went, oh man, I haven't really explored a lot within the education sector. I need to do more of that. And that's how this kind of thing can work for you and how it can be valuable. There's just no end to what you can do. I have this little demo that I'm doing for you here that, made up little exercise of planting a forest. But if you think of that, level of idea, right? And it's seemingly so big, it could be build a house. It could be start a business. It could be get a degree. It could be write a book. It could be anything that, again, you have to bring structure and organization and pull out kind of these hidden ideas that are kind of haven't surfaced yet because you haven't been able to view your thinking in this three-dimensional space. And so there, I'll stop there. That's kind of my preaching about how I've found Noda to be so effective, and why I think also it's important for those of us who are interested in productivity and work and business and using VR to get the most out of ourselves, that this is an important and really valuable tool to have in your tool chest. Okay, so I'll stop there. So let's talk a little bit more about Noda itself. Okay, it is available now. As I've mentioned, you can go out right now in Steam or in the Oculus Store. You can purchase the pre-release version, right? It's still in development, but you can purchase it and it functions fully well. I got mine on Viveport as part of my subscription there, and that's how I got started, right? And then I contacted Brian and said, hey, I would like to feature you on VR for Work, and then I got into the beta, and that's what was being demoed to you earlier. Now, it will be coming out of early access this year. At that point, Brian has explained he's going to provide a version of Noda free, right, with basic mapping features. So you'll be able to download Noda, use it in VR for free, be able to go into that kind of nondescript gray room and create a map. Then there will be a paid tier, right? And there'll be different features and functionalities and things available in the paid tier that are not available to the free tier, right? So the paid tier will have the speech to text, we'll have the ability to create unlimited maps and nodes, we'll have the alternative environments and music, the data import and export, the ability to bring in custom images and to save screenshots. Okay, so again, free version, you'll be able to go in, you'll be able to make a map, you'll have, I'm guessing, let's say 50 or 100 nodes in that map, and you'll be able to work with it and use most of the features that we saw there. The paid version, right, will have these other features and functionality. However, if you go now and you buy the version that's out there, you will be grandfathered into the next version, the full version, as it releases later this year. So don't think you're going to wait or you'll miss out and you'll wait for him to release it later. You can go get and take advantage of most of these features now. And then when this version comes out, you'll be able to download it as part of your purchase of the early access version. Okay, so don't think you'll be missing out. And in fact, you may get a bit of a price discount buying it now versus when it comes out. I don't have any information on that, but that is sometimes the case, right? If you opt in early, you get a discounted price, and then when the full version comes out, it is sometimes more expensive. And then there is a Quest version in the works. So I use Quest here at VR for Work, but when I use Noda, I jump into virtual desktop and I launch the Steam version or the Viveport version, and that's how I use it. Okay, real quick, one of the things that Brian showed me, and I'm going to give you a demo of, is the multi-user function. So it's great that you can go in there and you can create mind maps on your own and kind of hammer out some thoughts and ideas about a particular topic. But oftentimes we don't work on these things in a vacuum. So if I have a business plan I'm working on and I might just need to kind of get started, I might start this mind map. I might hit 15, 20, 30 nodes, and I might go, okay, wait a minute, there's other individuals or expertise that I have to bring to the table. Wouldn't it be great if I could bring them into the Noda space with me and we could work on this mind map together? So Brian's already thought of that, and he's going to be bringing that capability to the full release version when it comes out later this year. And I showed you that earlier in the video. There's an item on your tablet where you can create a room, you create a code or a name for that room, the other person puts that same code name in, and there you are, you're in the same room together as I am here with Brian. You'll notice nothing, again, the avatars keep to that very non-invasive, low poly image that we talked about with Noda earlier, right? There's nothing in here that is going to distract you from the middle, right? Each of you is going to be a very plain black figure floating in the room. Now, you do have mouth movements, and I always find that very helpful. It's a visual cue, somebody's talking. But other than that, you've got this gray black background, you've got this black floating avatar, so somebody's there with you, but the focus are on these colored nodes and these thoughts and ideas in between us. So he's, creating nodes, and I'm creating and manipulating nodes, and we're speaking, talking through what is out here in front of us, and we're creating this kind of shared understanding in 3D space about what we've got here and what we're doing. And in fact, Brian could have done a node. Let's say Brian and I are business partners, and he has his thoughts about a business plan, and I have my thoughts about a business plan, and he's done a Noda map, and I've done one. Well, we can bring those two maps in together, compare, contrast, move, click, link, make families and kinds, and at the end of that session, have a much better, fully fleshed out plan and map than we had when we started. So this multi-user, I think, is going to be very, very popular and very, very useful for those of us who are going to use Noda moving forward. He's also mentioned being able to bridge Noda. As we had said, it's a PC application, right? So he's looking to make a version that a user without a headset can bridge the gap into virtual reality to work with somebody who is in there on a headset. So you'll be able to work between 2D and 3D space, a user on a PC, user in VR, or on a phone. right? Again, it would be great to have Noda as a phone app. If I'm out somewhere and I kind of think of something quickly and I want to add it to my a map, I'd love to be able to whip out my phone, open a Noda app, add that other little piece, and then go into VR later when I'm home and kind of flesh that out a little bit more. So I'm really excited about Noda. You could probably tell, and as we get into the assessment model, right? I mean, these first 4 items, I mean, I think Noda is just off the charts with, right? In regards to being able to consume, retain, produce, and be efficient. You know, this concept of taking time to brainstorm, to bring a structure and an organization to our thoughts and ideas. How important is that to what we do day in and day out? And how often do we get to be in a space or an environment where we kind of have this endless set of resources, this endless 3D whiteboard, if you will, to create these thoughts and these ideas, right? Forget the whiteboard or this concept of having a flat surface in front of us. There's no surface in front of us. I can make these, you know, things 10 nodes, and maybe that's enough, or maybe it needs to be 100 nodes, and maybe it's, you know, a story high, and I can expand it and take it in any kind of direction I want. That helps me to retain and consume information in an entirely different way than I think most of us are used to doing it. And of course, I'm producing all of this on my own myself in the application. So high marks there, right? And and flow, of course. You know, VR number 1 just lends itself to placing you in a flow state. And if you haven't heard us talk about flow state before, please go look that up. You know, and it's simply putting yourself in a psychological state where you're the most efficient and productive. And VR is just a tool to help you do that. And then you layer Noda on top of that, and you can start generating thoughts and ideas and plans and that you were never able to do before. Ergonomics, I can stand, I can sit, I can be comfortable, I can, you know, move around with teleporting, or I can drag myself with my controllers and hands through the air. No issue there. And then the social and collaborative issue. When he launches and you have the capability to do these mind maps with others, and then of course bridge between 3D and 2D, that's going to be huge. That's great. As wonderful as it is to do these on your own, and again, that's great, and that's valuable to be able to collaborate and bring others in to generate and share those thoughts and ideas. That just expands the value of this tremendously. And then that gets to value. I think right now, if you go out and you buy the early access on Oculus or on Steam, it's maybe $15. And then when it launches later this year, I don't want to hazard a guess, but again, I would say typically you will see a higher cost when the full version rolls out. So, of course, I want to encourage you to support Brian and his work and his effort, and support, hold on, let me stop sharing. There we go. So support Brian and his effort and his work and what he's doing with Noda. And just make it that much better. But I really think that you would find a great deal of value yourself to go out and check it out, and then see what's coming up that we had talked about here in the presentation in the very few months to come. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here at VR for Work. We encourage you to reach out, sign up here at our YouTube page so that you can get notified of all the future VR for Work overviews. If you need to reach us, you can reach us at VR, the number 4, WRK at gmail.com. That's VR4WRK, work with no O, at gmail.com. Check out our Twitter feeds, our Facebook page, and I hope that you'll let me know what you think about today's presentation, And if there are platforms or applications out there for VR, for efficiency, for productivity, for work, for education and training, we're interested in reviewing all of those. Let us know, and we'll look into it. So thank you very much for joining us again here on VR for Work Starship 1. We'll see you again soon in the metaverse. Bye now.